It comes to Kung Fu Panda Dragon Knight, to me this is a odd show. Not a bad one, but when you think about when you think about the franchise that it's in, when you look at the other movies and TV shows that are in the Kung Fu Panda franchise, this TV show feels like the odd one out, to the point where in my head this show is not canon with the rest of Kung Fu Panda. Like, this is its own universe, own continuity. There's only two characters from the rest of the franchise in here, Po and Mr. Pain. Sure, Oogway's referenced at least once, but not very many times. And I mean, aside from these two characters, there's nothing else here right now to connect this show to the rest of the franchise. I mean, we don't see the Valley of Peace, Pain's Noodle Shop, the Jade Palace, Shifu, the Furious Five, any of the pandas from Kung Fu Panda Free. So in my head, I don't consider this show canon with the rest of the franchise. I think it's in its own continuity. I mean, some of the things in the show would suggest that it takes place after Kung Fu Panda Free, but in that case, you're thinking, wait a minute, Po and Mr. Pain are just living separately from all the other pandas we saw in the third film, Shifu, the Furious Five, at Jade Palace. They're just completely separate from all that. And then there's the introduction of England and Knights, and these things that are pretty different from the rest of the franchise. There's nothing in here really regarding Shi that was introduced in the third film, but we also see it in Kung Fu Panda Paws of Destiny. There's not really that much Kung Fu in here, to be honest, because we're introduced to a different country, these knights. There's more moral ambiguity in this show, because we learned that Ping was once a pirate. So it's like, oh, he's less of a good guy than we thought before. Po ends up having to do the right thing by going against the authorities, doing what's legally wrong but what's morally correct. We learn that the main knight here is actually someone who lost a brother. She's actually just pretending to be a knight. And you have this other main character who's a trickster, thief, but ends up ultimately doing a good thing. So this show has a different tone than the rest of the franchise. It's more morally gray. It was similar to How to Train Your Dragon, where you had that one show, Rescue Riders, that feels very different from the rest of the franchise, where it's like, yeah, I don't consider this show to actually be canon to the rest of the franchise. It's just in its own continuity, doing its own thing. We're getting a fourth Kung Fu Panda film this year, and I honestly doubt that it's going to have any kind of connection to Dragon Knight at all.